How you doing, Captain?
Hey, I'm good. It's Pastor Trey, right?
Yes, sir.
I started
Oh,
looking
I'm
for a
sorry. I'm
heavyweight
sorry.
belt when they
Pastor
said
Trey.
Troy. I
Pastor
thought
Trey.
I was
Sorry.
looking for the rapper when they said
Yeah,
Pastor
nah,
Troy.
nah, that ain't me, brother. Nah, brother. I just got two questions for you, man. Um, I know that you, of course, you went over that Jesus is not God. But what I wanted to say is, what do you do with the verses like Exodus 34:14 that says, "For you shall not worship any other god, for Yahweh, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God." And
Right.
then we come to passages where we see Christ being worshipped in Matthew 2, Matthew 28. And then what do we do with verses like Philippians chapter 2, verse 9 through 11, which is attributed to Jesus, which is a quotation coming from Isaiah chapter 45, verse 23 and 24, which is attributed to Yahweh. So what do we do with these Old Testament passages that's attributed to Yahweh that is interpreted in the New Testament to attribute it to Jesus? Along with the worship that we see we're not supposed to worship any other God, but then we see in the New Testament where Jesus is being worshipped.
Um. Quick yes or no. We would agree that Jesus is King, right?
Oh, yes,
Mhm.
sir.
Yeah. Okay. A king can be worshipped. So I'm just going to read that in the Old Testament. This is First Chronicles 29:20. It says, "And David said to all the congregation, Now bless the Lord your God." And all the congregation blessed the Lord God of their fathers and bowed down their heads and worshiped the Lord and the king. So a king can be worshiped because they're set up by the Most High. So Christ receiving worship in that context is not a bad thing. Can you give me the Isaiah one that you mentioned? I
Yes,
think what
sir. So
42.
it is Isaiah 45, 23 and 24. He said,
Hmm.
I've sworn by myself, the word has gone forth from my mouth in righteousness, and I will not turn back. That every knee will bow and every tongue will swear allegiance. They will say of me, only Yahweh are righteous in strength. Men will come to him, and all who were angry at him will be put to shame. And we see Paul taking he requotes this and attributes it to Jesus in Philippians chapter 2, verse 9
Philippians
through
2.
11.
Let's go. I'm just gonna go to Philippians 2. 1 second. Philippians 2. You said 9 through 11.
Yes, sir.
When it says, I'm just going to read it. It says, "Wherefore God hath highly exalted him and given him a name above every name, and that at the name of Yahweh, I know y'all say Jesus, every knee should bow, of things in heaven and of things in earth and of things under the earth, and that every tongue should confess that Yahweh Mashiach is Lord, and to the glory of God the Father." So even when I read verse 11, and I'm going to respond to the other verses too, but even when you read verse 11, it makes a distinction. It says that every tongue should confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, and to the glory of God the Father. Paul also says to us there is one God the Father. In Matthew 28 and I think it's 18, there's Matthew 28 and 18. It says, "And Yahweh came and spake unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth." And I think you can see this also, I think, in either John 17 or John 20, when Christ asks for the Father to give him that power. So I wouldn't say that Isaiah 45 is talking about him, but quite, Paul's quotation and using that in parallel is in conjunction that Christ was given all power by God. One more scripture, First Corinthians 15, and I think it's 28. It reads, here we go. It says, "And when all things shall be subdued unto him, then shall the Son also himself be subject unto him that put all things under him." So now Paul is saying here, all things are going to be subdued by Christ. Then shall the Son also himself be subject unto him that put all things under him. That's the Father, or that's God. And then it says that God may be in all. So for people that may not understand how we teach it, a man can be called God. Like even when they tried to call Christ God in John the 10th chapter, Christ said, "Does it not say in your law, ye are gods?" Like Moses, as an example, Israel can be called gods. So we don't have an issue if you said Christ is called God in that context. Where we have the issue at is when you make him the Most High, or Yahweh, or Yahweh, as y'all would say it, because we always see a separation. So even in Philippians that you pulled, there's a separation between Christ and the Father. In First Corinthians 15 and 28, there's a differentiation between Christ and God. And then as far as the worship goes, that's why I use First Chronicles 29, where Solomon and David was worshiped. I yield.
Got you. So what I would say to that, and be real brief because I want to be respectful of everybody's time. when it says every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus is Lord, in context of what Paul is doing, that is saying that Jesus is Yahweh, because the context that he's referring back to, the context of what Paul is referring from, is coming from Yahweh speaking. So if you go back to Isaiah chapter 45, verse 23 and 24, 24 says they will say to be only in Yahweh. So for Paul to requote that and say Jesus is Lord, the context of what he's quoting from is saying that it is Yahweh. Now going to what you said also is First Corinthians, where God will be all in all. We don't deny that Christ, because of course I'm a pastor. I hold to the Trinity. I know you guys don't, but
Hmm.
we don't say that Jesus is. I don't hold any form of modalism at all. So
I got you.
I don't believe that the Son is the Father. I
Right.
believe that they have distinct roles, but Hebrews make it clear that he is the exact representation or the exact imprint of the nature, same nature as the Father, different role. So just because his role is different doesn't mean that his nature is different, because he is the exact nature of the Father, because that's what it's saying in Hebrews chapter 1. So in summary, what I'm saying is, in Paul requotation of Isaiah 45, 23 and 24, and then he goes and says in Philippians 2, he said Jesus is Lord. That's saying Jesus is Yahweh. And then come back to what you said in 1 Corinthians 15, we don't deny the role of the Son. We don't deny the role. But the fact that he's the exact representation, the exact imprint of the Father, makes them one in essence, even though they're distinct in persons. Does that make sense, sir?
Yeah, because I've had this conversation a couple of times, and even in Isaiah 45 and 24, when it says, "Surely shall one say, in the Lord have righteousness and strength." And 22, when it says, "Look unto me and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth, for I am thy God, and there is none else." When it comes to Christ, we don't look at it as the same essence like y'all do. We look at
Mhm.
it how y'all initially said. When you initially say, we're not saying they're the same, they just have the same essence. I got you right, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So
But
that
they're
essence
distinct
part,
persons at the same
right?
time.
They're two distinct persons, but the same essence. We just can't read that in the text. All we ever read in the text is a distinction between them. So that's why when the verses that I read, even Christ himself said in John, I think 21 and 17, I says, I go to my Father and your Father. I go to my God and your God. Now Christ is saying that he has a God. So we don't see a text that say the same essence that the Most High has is the same essence that the Father has. That's what we don't see.
So in Hebrews, when he says he is the exact imprint of his nature, that would be same in essence. We
And
can't.
Hebrews 1 and what?
So it should be Hebrews. Let me go to it for you real quick, brother. I want to be
Is the
respectful.
word nature there? Because I'm in the chapter.
Yes, sir. I'm going to it for you.
Mhm.
So we got
And yeah, we definitely gonna do a live stream on this. We
so
gotta have you back on
Hebrews
on for this, Cap. Ooh
Hebrews
wee.
chapter
No
1 verse 2,
problem. No
he
problem.
who is the radiance of his glory and is that representation of his nature, and uphold all things by the power of by uphold all things by the word of his power, who having accomplished cleansing for sin, sat down at the right hand of majesty on high.
Okay, so where we differ at, of course, you're reading a different translation than me.
Yes, sir.
Ours, KJV says, "Who being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his person." So, being the image of the Most High, we wouldn't say that that's the same. Like your son, you have children.
Yes, sir, I do.
So your children are in your image, meaning you raise them up to conduct and be a certain way. If they do something wrong, it can mess up your image. If it do
Mhm.
something good, it can give you a great image.
But what
So
does the Greek say though? The Greek goes to the Greek is closer to the exact representation.
of
The
which
Greek is a
word?
little closer. So if we go to
Of express image or person? Which one?
So if you go to the exact representation, that's going to be closer in line.
It-
I got you.
The, for
And
for my
if I'm
so
taking
I
too
can make
long, Elton, just let me
no
know.
no.
We
Hey,
can just move on.
Pastor,
I'm
real
sorry. I'm
fast.
sorry. What did you say, Pastor Trey?
No, I was
I didn't
saying
hear you.
if I'm taking too long, please, please, y'all just move. I don't want to. I want to be respectful of everybody's
Yeah,
time.
I'm gonna go ahead and let Cap answer, and then I'll let you respond, and then I'm gonna bring in fifths.
And real fast, Pastor, I want to get the right Greek word because you read a different translation. Express image, that's the nature that you're talking about, right?
Yeah. So we go
Okay,
to
gotcha.
um.
Is it G five four
So
eight
you're
one?
going. So I don't use the strong. So really, the exact imprint of his nature, that really all comes out to be the exact imprint. That's all one word. So if you
What
but I'll
what
give you the
Greek? What's
Strong's
the
if you
Greek?
want it.
No,
But
no. What do you use? If you don't use a strong,
I
what do you?
use
What,
so I
use
know
Brown
Greek.
Driver's
Yeah,
Brig?
I actually know Greek. So but I'll give you the Strong's. It's
No,
65481.
if you use Brown's Driver's Bridge or something, if you use something different, I'm fine with. I don't. We don't have to use the strong.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Just for the sake of time, you can go to G. If the Strong's is G5481. If you want to do that, just for the sake of time.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. So when I look at it, it says from the same as G5482, a graver, the tool of a person, that is by implication engraving character, the figure stamp, that is an exact copy or figuratively representation express image.
Yeah, so it's the
That sound
exact
about right?
copy. He's the exact copy. He's the exact
Right.
representation.
No problem. But so now, again, the reason why we have a difference is so what you're saying is that it's two of the Father.
No, 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 no. That's modalism. Um,
That, but you see how thin that line is, though.
well,
So you're
it's
saying that he's an exact copy of the Father, but then you're saying he's not the Father.
no, he's not the Father because that's modalism. He is the Son,
But that I no, so I get what you're saying. But when you tell me if you say your son is an exact copy of you,
but
right?
he's not though. He's a mixture of me and his mother.
But if you say that though, right? If he's an exact copy of you, right?
Yes, sir.
You're not talking about him being you. You're talking about he does exactly what I do. That's what you're talking about. You're not talking about him literally being Pastor Trey. He's not Pastor Trey, but he acts, talks, thinks just like you. And so
But
that's how. Okay. No,
yeah,
no.
but he's the exact copy of his nature. Nobody else was the exact copy of his
So
nature.
that's where we differ. That I don't see the word nature
So
just says express
hypostasios is that's going to be for nature. He's
for the
the
is that for the word person? That's a G5287. Is that be it? Yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah,
one.
that's the
But
word. When it
yes, sir.
says that is concretely essence of, so then I know you don't want to be a modalist, right? But the way you breaking that down to me sound like modal because first you said exact copy, and then you saying expressive nature. Like it's hard for me to get up out of that thought process. And I know that's
I
not what you're saying, but that's what it sounds like. And I'm, for time's sake, and I want to applaud you and the other two people that I got on the phone. Y'all should have been first. We'd have had a better dialogue. But I do
yes,
want to get the other brother in beforehand. But I'll definitely come back. You just let me know how you want to set it up to Alton. But
Yeah,
I ain't forgetting about 5/5. But I'm just saying I didn't
yeah.
want me and Pastor because we was about to go even further. He a modalist though. I'm joking,
nah,
Pastor. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Yeah,
I'm
like I
joking.
said, yeah,
nah.
we
He talking to you
definitely
though,
gonna
man.
set this up, and soon as I get off with this, I gotta set up for my next live stream, but I'm definitely gonna be hitting you up, and we definitely gotta talk about this Trinity thing because there's even some people that come to the channel on a regular who kind of sided with you right now, Cap. So, and they Christians. So
Wait, you said what? Say that again.
it's some people that's in the chat that's kind of siding with you and they Christians. Ah, oh man. Listen, Pastor Trey, man, thank you for coming on. But
No
listen,
problem,
stay
brother.
tuned. We gonna have this conversation. I definitely gotta have you back on for that.
No problem. Yeah, man. Y'all take care now.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
you
Yes, sir. Enjoy the rest of your night.